Also talk about a lot of other things too. Parenting, sports, the arts, music. If it affects you in Minnesota, we'll talk about it. Plus, we have a lot of regular guests giving you national and local insight on the issues affecting you. Weekday afternoons, it's the Matt McNeil Show, 3 to 5 p.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
This is Gregory Rich, host of Drink in the Style and owner of Habitation Furnishing and Design. People often ask me, why habitation for my home? Well, I could give you hundreds of reasons. I could talk about the extensive collection of furnishing suppliers or our exceptionally talented design team. I could talk about service, but the truth is, habitation clients come back room after room and home after home, and that speaks volumes. Habitation puts some drama into your interiors.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/build. That's ZipRecruiter.com/build for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/build.
There are things that we experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in a corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us, share your story, share your evidence, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is Ghostbox Radio.
And this is Ghostbox Radio on AM 950, where every week we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, or just the unusual. My name is Greg Bakken, and thank you very much for joining me today. First of all, before we get started, I wanted to give a very special thank you to Council Room that was done last weekend in Bloomington. That was a Doctor Who convention that invited me out there to be a guest second year in a row, and we had a great time. We talked about all things Doctor Who. I was able to have a really good interview with Sophie Aldred, who played Ace in the series. In fact, she was in the most recent episode back in October. And then also, we were able to talk a little paranormal. It was a great time. Also, it was my birthday last Sunday, and they really were very kind and made it a very special day. So to Jason and everyone out at Council Room, I just wanted to say thank you very much. And I'm a little groggy today because I just came back from another birthday party over in Hudson, Wisconsin. John, happy birthday. His birthday is actually the day after mine, but we all celebrated. It was a big milestone for him on this last Monday, but we celebrated last night. It was a lot of fun, and I just really wanted to say thank you to everybody. It was been a really great week. Now let's get down to business. Shannon Rogers is the owner of Paranormal Explorations of America, LLC, and co-host of the new thrilling podcast, The Calling, The Forgotten Files. Shannon has been working with Spirit and Energy since 2011. We have a lot to talk about today because we're going to be talking about all of this. Shannon, welcome to Ghostbox Radio.
Thank you, Greg, and happy belated birthday.
Well, thank you very much. And also, I do have to say real fast before we get into anything else, something I forgot to write down. Also, Shar, thank you last week for filling in for me. That was fantastic. It was actually a really great conversation. Now, getting back to Shannon, I would like to invite all of our listeners to join into the conversation. To do so, to ask a question to Shannon, you can call in at 952-946-6205. That's 952-946-6205. You can email us a comment or a question. The email address for the station is comment@am950radio.com. And we are live on AM 950 Radio, but we're also streaming on the following Facebook pages. You can watch us on AM 950, Things Network, MN Ghostbox, Free Spirited Network, RU Media, Skeleton Key Network, and Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. So please go there, support those pages, but also leave a question in the comments. I'm monitoring all those pages today. Shannon, I think the first place to start, obviously, is now we've had medium Jennifer Lee on here a number of times doing one question readings, and we're going to need to get her back on at some point to just discuss like all the cases and other stuff she works on. But now you and her have teamed up, and you are doing a new weekly podcast called The Calling, The Forgotten Files. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is, please?
Yes, absolutely. I think we're about 12 episodes in now, and basically we want to cover things like, psychic detectives, the missing and unsolved, metaphysical, mental health. Mental health is a big one, just really digging deep behind, why some of these things happen, whether with the living or, the deceased and with spirit and stuff. So we cover a whole bunch of different things, but we like to get really emotional into our topics and everything.
It's,
I like it.
Well, I think that's always important, right? You got to like it to do it. Also, though, I feel like that's something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot is when I say we, I mean the collective we, right? That everyone is all really gung-ho about spirits, all gung-ho about all, like the scariness or whatever else. But there's so much more to this, and you're looking at an area that I don't think gets talked about nearly enough.
Right. No, exactly. And you were so correct. On Thursday, our show was about, veterans and PTSD and trauma. And not only that, with not just veterans, but with people that deal with PTSD and trauma just from other situations.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really good show. We had tons of people commenting, and telling about their stories, but also the feedback we got after the show was amazing. Like, hey, I'm a vet. I watched your show. That was really great to have y'all touch on those topics like that. So,
well, and it has to be nice too, to maybe not necessarily be confined to the world of paranormal when you're doing this stuff either, that there is a bigger world out there, and that you're actually, as you just said, with the veterans coming in and thanking you, or just even be able to take part, you're looking at now something that is that you are actually being able to help people. That has to mean quite a bit.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. It's just, if we reach one person, and that tends to happen on a lot of our shows, somebody will reach out to me about our topic and say, I really got something from that, or I learned a lot, or that helped me understand. That's why I want to touch on mental health a lot on our shows, because it is so present in everyday life with a lot of people. We don't really look at it or talk about it enough, I don't think.
No, not at all. Now, because you are going somewhere deeper than a lot of programs do, and that's just what it is. How hard is it to find topics to keep going with?
It's not too hard to find topics to go with, because there's so many out there. My brain goes constantly. We're usually 2 or 3, months booked up, and we've only had 12 episodes. But it's easy to find the topic. It's just, I think sometimes an hour, it's more of a problem that an hour is not enough time to cover what we want to. But of course, we don't want to go over that. But it's not too hard to find topics, because it's everywhere. It's, we want to talk about, women that are in bad, relationships and can't get out. We want to talk about, we want to talk to people who've had people missing in their families that have disappeared, and they're trying to find them, or people, recovering from the loss of a loved one that died tragically by the hands of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So we can definitely find the topics, just having enough time or dates to put them on. So there's only, 4 or 5 shows a month. So.
Now, who put down the duration of it being 60 minutes? Because it sounds like if there's more, that there's more to talk about. Do you feel ever that you want to go beyond the confines of 60 minutes?
Well, the good thing is we're not with the network. We're just doing it independently.
Mm-hmm.
Is if we want to go over, if we want to change it from 6 p.m. Central to 7 p.m. Central, we're able to do that. So we are definitely over. We were doing it for an hour and a half at first, the first few episodes. Then it was like, let's just do an hour. And if we want to go over, we have the freedom to absolutely do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is, I mean, and that's the great thing about it. You know, it's a fine line, I would think, because you want to go at a good, like a decent sizable chunk so that people can digest it easy enough. But at the same time, if it's really good, you know, you want people to want to come back for more, but you also want to be able, if you're having a great conversation, why stop, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean,
So that's why.
Go ahead,
I
Shannon.
didn't mean to interrupt. I'm
No.
sorry. That's why we are streaming on a couple networks, but we're not with the networks. We're on their extra pages, ones where you can pop in and just air anytime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we are doing that. We are doing that and everything. And I'm looking to add a radio station soon because I love radio. I just really do. And it's all kind of new to me.
Yep.
But I think the audience is just a lot broader of an audience, you know, and a lot of uniqueness comes out of that. A lot more people, a lot more conversations, a lot more questions, you know, and you just hit more people. You reach more people. The topic touches more people.
There is something to be said, I think, you know, and the Facebook networks are great and everything, but you know, if you're not bringing in new people, it can be very limiting, and being able to kind of expand beyond there is something that I've been very grateful for myself, and I think you're absolutely right to be able to have that because you are talking about things that doesn't have to fit within the confines of paranormal, that, you know, that people could come in and even with kind of a baseline of what you are talking about, you and Jen, there is still like so much that could be covered in a diverse way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no, and that makes a lot of sense. And so, you know, is there anything that you feel like would be like pie in the sky for you to do an episode on that at the moment you maybe feel like that right now I can't get there, but ultimately I want to do an episode of this? And what would that be, do you think?
Oh, Jennifer knows who I'm talking about. There is a certain person that she's been talking to on a case. I can't even bring too much into it except to say that there is a person of interest in a case that she's working on. Mm-hmm. They are a person of interest and they've reached out to her. I would love to be able to bring them on the show and talk about it because they are the suspects. And they're reaching out to a very talented psychic medium and asking them for help when they're obviously looking pretty guilty. So I would love to have that conversation and just bring it out and see what they would actually say. And I mean, 'cause it just blows my mind.
Wow.
How some people think, like, the audacity just to reach out and have someone look into something. I mean, it's very obvious. It's an obvious point into that direction. You know,
yeah.
I would love to bring that up and have it on a show and just like, let's lay it all on the table.
That would be really something, that's for sure. Now, before we take our first break, how can people find the podcast?
Okay, so we are on YouTube and we are on Facebook. You can find it. We only have like 108 followers on YouTube because I haven't spent much time trying to build that. So guys, if you could go on there to YouTube and look at The Calling, The Forgotten Files and hit like and subscribe, I'll be your new best friend because I'm not good at networking that way. But also on Facebook, we have The Calling, The Forgotten Files on there. You can look me up on Facebook under Shannon M. Rogers for my middle initial. Friend request me and shoot me a message. Say, I listened to the show. I'll accept you, you know. And you can look me up that way. And I have a website as well.
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please finish up.
It's www.paranormalexplorationsofamerica.com. And that kind of gives a layout of what I've done within the field.
So let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with co-host of the new podcast, The Calling, The Forgotten Files, Shannon Rogers. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on metamorphosisconnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. Metamorphosisconnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit metamorphosisconnections.com and sign up today.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067. or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
The new year is here, and it's time to take advantage of Zero Res's best deal of the year. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, so it's time to call the cleaning pros at Zero Res, and don't forget your air ducts to help alleviate allergies or asthma. And it's also important to enjoy less dust, lower energy bills, and your home will stay cleaner longer. Zero Res is here to protect your biggest investment, your home. Why pay someone to clean your carpet if they're going to leave things behind that are going to make it dirty again quickly? Zero Res is the longest lasting and best clean. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZERO-RES, and don't forget to ask for the AM 950 special. Book now through January 31st and get 23% off all services. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com today to book your appointment.
Hello, AM 950 listener. I know you. You take the news seriously. When you read the headlines these days, it makes you want to hang your head down and cry. Well, to hell with that. What you need is a laugh from the left. So do yourself a favor. Listen to Facepalm America with host Beowulf Rockland every Sunday night at 9.
Are you dreading Monday, hating life, and living for the weekends? It might be time for some life changes. Pamela Topjian is a board-certified hypnotherapist at hypnobreakthrough.com, and she can help. Consultations are always free, and you'll also receive a complimentary sample session to try out. Get in touch with hypnobreakthrough.com or send a message on social media, Hypnobreakthrough or Pamela Marie Topjian. Please let Pamela know you heard this ad on AM 950 or Ghostbox Radio. I would greatly appreciate it. And, you know, really, if you need the help, you should go and talk to her. I think that it'd be very much worth your time and to see what she even offers for that matter. Now, welcome back to Ghostbox Radio and AM 950. My name is Greg Bakken. Thank you for joining us today. Our guest today is the owner of Paranormal Explorations of America, LLC, and the co-host of the new podcast, The Calling, The Forgotten Files, that can be found on Facebook and YouTube. We have on today Shannon Rogers. And, Shannon, do you recommend, like, if people have, like, topics for you and Jen to talk about, like they want you to explore on your podcast, are you open to that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to bring what people want to hear. You know, we want to bring those topics up. I implore people to contact us.
Well, and so I was thinking to myself during break, I think, one of the things that I think you should talk about, honestly, is what ended up happening over on Eli Roth's show, to be honest.
Yeah. We should talk about that on the show.
You really should, because for those who don't know, Shannon had been on, if I'm not mistaken, the very first episode of Eli Roth's Ghosts Ruined My Life, or is something like that, isn't it?
Yes, it was the series premiere, season 1, episode 1 of Ghosts Ruined My Life. presented by Eli Roth on Travel Channel and Discovery Plus.
And so the thing is, and Shannon and I talked about this before the show, is the idea of there's so many people out in the field who really, really, really want to get on TV. And when I say that, I'm not saying that that's what Shannon was about in this instance. Please don't confuse that. But there are people who just really want to get on. They want to be on their own show. They want to be on shows like these. And what happened? Because, and we this is a shorter break, so we might go into the next segment with this too. But what happened on that? Because it turned out to not be a very great situation.
No, it was a really negative experience. I lived in a really bad house for just barely under 2 years. I had a lot of things happen. That's what drove me more into the paranormal field. A lot of negative, bad, dark energy there. I mean, I got thrown out of a chair. It was really bad.
Yeah.
And I had just moved out of the house. This, production company had messaged me, and we started talking about it. I had like PTSD from this situation. I mean, it was awful.
Yeah.
But it was almost like therapy, working with these wonderful producers, talking about it. It ended up being a really positive thing. And even when they came out and filmed, it was wonderful. They were so nice. We spent the whole day together. We went to 3 different locations. It was actually 2 days, but it was so enjoyable. And it helped me heal a little bit. And then it airs.
And what happened then?
Okay, so they lied about the situation. There was a suicide that happened. They completely twisted that around and changed it into something else. And the family of the person who committed suicide was very, very, very upset about it. They showed me levitating in bed and my daughter getting drug out by her feet. That didn't happen. It was just a lot of, they showed that I only lived there for a few months, and that never happened. So it was just really bad. And also they showed my car magnetic on there with my personal phone number and my, website.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm telling you, over 1,000 calls within a year. Over that, people tell me they wanted to pray the demons out of me. And so my daughter and I, because she was on there with me, because she had come to stay with me for a while. And every time it was like, oh gosh, they're airing the episode again, because the activity would go up with the phone calls and all this stuff. And it was just something we just wanted to go away.
Now, with this, you also, the misinformation that they put out about what happened to you also deeply affected people that you knew, right?
Yes, very much so. It hurt them. And I'm sitting there like, I had no control. I signed a contract. They had creative control, and it was not what I worked with the producers with. It was twisted.
How did it, if you're able to say, how did it affect the people who were not on the program?
Well, it showed that he shot himself in the head in the house. That didn't happen. And it was like, it aired like on, one of the anniversaries of his brother, it was my friend's brother, and they were like my best friend's husband's brother. And it was really tough. I mean, it was hard for them to swallow, but they understood, but it still hurt them. And it was very raw, and it was disrespectful is the best way to put it. And I was so disappointed.
Were they upset with you at all? The people who are affected by this with the misinformation, because they didn't know what was transpiring?
I mean, I wouldn't say they were disappointed. They understood that it wasn't my fault, but it still hurt them regardless. And I don't like that. I don't want to ever make someone feel that way. So that bothered me even more.
Well, and that's just it. It's like, and I guess that's the moral of the story, if you will, for people who are just really hell-bent on getting on stuff. And you weren't hell-bent again on you. It worked out and it happened. But this is the reality of what happens sometimes when you get onto some of these programs, or, people forget that the paranormal shows are for entertainment value only.
Yes.
Yeah, Shannon.
Not only that, I mean, the articles and the reviews that went out, as soon as it aired, I would read those, and I commented on those. I was like, oh, come to find out this girl's in the paranormal field and she's just trying to boost her company and blah, 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 and this and that. And I was like, I commented back on, I'm like, hey, that's me. I'm that person. And that is not the situation. I'm disappointed. They changed my whole story around. And that is not, I am not trying to get myself out there and become famous or boost my company.
Yeah.
Like it was really a rough time. Like, but then they were like, my apologies. Thank you for clearing that up. Now we know. And I'm like, yeah, because people, they only see what they see on TV. They don't know the actual real person and the real story because they only show what they want to show the audience.
They do. And as you said, and I remember you and I talked about this before, that you were taking a lot of time answering people who were kind of filled with this misinformation and putting out their own incorrect take. But, you know, what I really stood out to me was you saying that you were doing so, you know, politely with kindness and just to correct the misinformation.
Yes. And not only that, like if the camera was not on my face when I was talking, they would dub sentences together that I never said.
Of course.
That was one of the big kickers as well, because there were at every location, we had to sit there for like a minute or two where they could just get the ambience noise, the background noise.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that was for editing purposes. And so when I seen it, I'm like, I didn't say that. They said I was traveling around the country. I was going to travel around the country and to help people, to go to their homes and stuff like that. So I had people like wanting me like on my own dollar to just come help them. And I was like, so what I would do is get them connected with the team in their local area. But I'm like, I didn't even say that. I don't have like this big fund set aside for traveling around and helping people. If I could, oh my gosh, I would. If I won the lottery, I would devote my time to do something like that. But I don't have those resources.
Let's do this. Let's take another break, and we're gonna when we come back, we're gonna switch to something more positive, and it's gonna be really cool. What Shannon's gonna be talking about. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with co-host of the new podcast, The Calling, The Forgotten Files, Shannon Rogers. You are listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
No matter if you're eating out or cooking something at home, EatLocalMinnesota.com has you covered with a list of locally owned restaurants and food purveyors. Locally owned Vinaigrette has been offering the finest olive oil and vinegar since 2009. Reintroduce yourself to all the many flavors by tasting before you buy. From darker white balsamic to cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil from all over the world, there is something for everyone. Vinaigrette, located at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis, or at vinaigrettemn.com. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for fun. Enjoy the fantastic food like their pizzas, burgers, and sandwiches, the best bowling in Minnesota, their wildly popular outdoor patio, great drink specials, all the big games on their numerous screens, and it's the perfect place for your next private event, even large gatherings for over 200. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for everyone. Have fun at the Park Tavern, Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park.
With the colder weather here, now is the time to get yourself a vehicle that can handle the winter roads at Rudy Luther Toyota. Rudy Luther Toyota has fantastic models that can tackle Minnesota at its blustery worst. The RAV4, Highlander, Land Cruiser, Sequoia, and the Corolla Cross, all of them give you the safe drive you're looking for. And the Sequoia, Highlander, and RAV4 all have a hybrid model. If my Toyota Sienna minivan tackles the snow like a pro, their entire lineup can handle the task with ease. Test drive a Toyota today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 169 and 394 in Golden Valley. Thanks to everyone who supported AM 950 for the last 3 years. Good news, the AM 950 2023 calendar is ready to go, featuring photos I took around Minnesota and important progressive dates. If you sign up to become a member with a one-time $50 membership or recurring monthly membership of $10, you'll receive a 2023 AM 950 calendar as a thank you gift. Go to am950radio.com to become a member and receive a calendar. That's am950radio.com. Thank you so much for supporting AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hi, this is Laura, and I want to tell you about my family's favorite thing. It's our wood stove. We bought it about 14 years ago from Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. And see, the wood stove has actually paid for itself because we can keep the main area that we live in toasty warm with this great moist heat. But more important than saving money, it has actually improved our lives. Having a fire simplifies life. It provides comfort. It sort of takes the chill out of winter.
I'm Peter Solak. In 1977, I started Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, and I experienced the simple joy of warming myself by a fire. I also realized that the place and the way we embrace fire has evolved in a diversity of forms and styles. So at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we have brought together the widest selection of our fireplace products and technical knowledge in the Twin Cities. Our mission is to use our knowledge to help you choose the design and function that is right for you and your home.
Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today and find the right fire for you.
This week, there's a big week of stuff happening. First of all, Ghost Stories and Beyond is back this Wednesday, February 1st at Billy's Bar and Grill in Anoka. February's subject is going to be something to see. Now, on November 5th, 2022, a group of investigators did a paranormal investigation of the Grant House in Rush City, Minnesota. One of the sessions yielded an amazing amount of evidence. We did an experiment, actually, to back up a little bit. We did this unique experiment. It yielded an incredible amount of evidence that included equipment use such as spirit box, recorders, different sort of things, mediumship, shadows, spirit touch over the course of the entire hotel, which is about 4 floors in total. It's all happening within a span of 18 minutes. All of this happened, and it's all connected. Now, join us as those investigators share their experience of that night, including lots of evidence being played. It starts at 6:30 p.m. on February 1st at Billy's Bar and Grill in Anoka in the basement of the restaurant. $10 to get in. It doesn't cover food, but there's a full restaurant and bar service available too. Also, a shout out to Billy's for posting about our event on Facebook. Please go to Billy's Bar and Grill in Anoka and like their page. Also, please go, this was a nice surprise, go to Discover Anoka on Facebook. They did a nice little write-up about us, and that was really kind. So please go to Discover Anoka and like their page on Facebook as well. Now, more Anoka goodness is happening. It's an open house in Anoka that's coming this Saturday, February 4th. Psychic mediums Sandy Stangler and Char Savoy are coming together to open Sinner Essence. Their vision is to collaborate with our intrinsic gifts to unite the physical, metaphysical, and spirit. They have created a beautiful and calming space for all to find healing, peace, and insight. Sinner Essence provides a space for readings and healings. There is also space for all of their wonderful classes to be held. They would love to invite you to come to be part of this exciting grand opening at their open house on February 4th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. There's going to be gift bags available for the first 20 people, filled with all kinds of wonderful things, drawings for a future free reading with Sandy and a future free healing with Char. Also, a 10% discount if you sign up for any classes or events that day that they have coming up. There's also going to be a 10% discount on all their merchandise and handmade products. Refreshments will be provided as well. Please stop in anytime during the open house to visit Sandy and Char, enjoy some goodies, and save on future things to come. They are very excited to be sharing this with all of us, and they look forward to seeing us all there. Now, they're located in the Anoka Law Center at 316 East Main Street, Anoka, Minnesota, and it's lower level, Suite 30. Just because of the Law Center, you're not going to be arrested or anything. Just go to the open house. You're going to have a good time. I'm going to be there checking it out a little bit too. We hope to see you there too. Now, if you miss Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken Live, AM 950 replays these episodes Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, or you can listen anytime by going to Spotify or iTunes. After listening, please leave a positive review for my show. I would greatly appreciate it. Our guest today is owner of Paranormal Explorations of America, LLC, and the co-host of the new podcast, The Calling, The Forgotten Files, that can be found on Facebook and YouTube. And Shannon said herself, if you like either of those or subscribe, you will get a new best friend, and that is Shannon Rogers. Now, Shannon, I want to go in a different direction here a little bit. We've been talking about the amazing podcast. We've been talking about not a great experience you had being on a television show, but we want to talk about that you are going to be making an amazing trip this year, this October, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I'll be there for Halloween in Scotland. Yes.
Wow. Now, when we talked before, you had quite the opening for yourself when you visited there last time. It was a revelatory for you. What happened?
Okay, so in 2014, I went to Scotland for 2 weeks, and the first night in Edinburgh, because we were all up and down the country, we were on the Royal Mile at a Holiday Express, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really cool. I mean, I loved it there. It was Gothic. I just felt, because I have Scottish blood in me.
Yep.
It's in my ancestral line, and I was just very happy to be there. I felt the Scottish pride, the bagpipes playing, everything was just, I was just so alive. And then that night in Edinburgh, the first night there, when I went to sleep that night, I had a dream, and my dreams are more messages. I don't really have much dreams, but it's more like spirit coming to me, or they're showing me things. There's always messages, or, and being, having a connection.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that night when I was asleep, I kept having like this chihuahua was like a little dog was like on my fingers, and it wasn't biting me, but it was like squeezing my fingers so hard my nails were popping off. And then later on in that moment, my hands were down by my ankles, and people kept pushing me, and I was swaying back and forth, and just the emotion, I couldn't understand it. I woke up, it just traumatized me, and I woke up and I pushed my heel so far in the bed I threw my back up against the headboard. I woke my ex up. I had to talk to him about it because it was just so insane that I was feeling that much emotion from it. And but the next night we did a tour of the catacombs underneath Edinburgh Castle and the Royal Mile. And they asked for a volunteer. And of course I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'll go, because we were having a couple scotches before, when in Scotland. So I'm like, I'll volunteer.
So suddenly I'm all out there. Yep. Go ahead. Yep.
yeah. Like, I'll volunteer. And so when I'm up there, they start talking about what they would do to witches, or what people they suspected of being witches. You pretty much, if they suspected you, they were going to find you guilty. If you had red hair, if you had freckles and moles, just these little things. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, then they started saying that if you wouldn't admit it, they would put wooden vices on your fingers and squeeze them and crank them until your nails would pop off. As soon as they said that, because I was very descriptive of what I had seen in my dream to my ex, he looked at me, his eyes got big, my eyes got big, and then they were talking about if they still wouldn't admit it, they would tie their hands to their ankles and they would push them over the plank into a marsh. And it was just, absolutely insane, because I was already an intuitive empath at that point, and, learning a lot about metaphysical. But it was that point in time, I feel like, my ancestors were speaking to me, showing me what happened to them. And I very strongly believe this, because that's when I started having visions, seeing people that are not living. That's when, I can smell death sometimes. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But all that started that night in Scotland. And I feel like they passed down something to me, and I just got chills everywhere, but I'm going back kind of like a pilgrimage, because I've had a really rough year, and I've done a lot of fighting and a lot of perseverance, just to make changes in my life to be a happier, better person. I've got a dream job. I'm just a lot happier. So I told my mom, I was like, I need to go back.
Yeah.
I want to go back, and I want to be on the same soil that they were on. And I want them to communicate with me and tell them, give me more direction. I want some more direction. Use me as a vessel. What do I need to do? I'm willing, and I want to, I feel very drawn to do that, just to go reconnect and see where life goes from that point. I'm just being drawn to do so. So I'm doing it. I'm going for 8 days, and I'm excited. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in Sterling on Halloween, where they used to do the beheadings, and it's going to be really interesting.
I laugh. The stuff that we do for our vacations and the places we go, that people are like, oh, that's what you do. Yes, that is what we do. We're going to go to the place where the beheadings take place. My Halloween was at a funeral home. That's what we do, right?
Yes.
So,
I just went 1,500 miles to go to, to the Conjuring house.
Exactly. Exactly. How is that?
Hospital.
How is that? How is the Conjuring house?
You know what? After traveling, and I was so worn out from all the traveling I was doing anyways. I fell asleep by 1 a.m. at the kitchen table at the Conjuring House of all places. And I was so sleepy, I was snoring. I couldn't get good EVP sessions. So I was there with Timothy J. Dalton and Christy Grissom and Daniel Cochran. And it was one of those things. There were things definitely happening. It was very active there. And I did take a piece of coal from the basement.
Uh-oh.
And I know better because I didn't even put it in salt when I got home.
Well, there you go.
I just had to do it. And I don't ever take stuff from places like that. I don't. But something just mischievous in me had me take a piece of coal from the basement, and luckily nothing bad came from that. But
well, and I suppose they're all like hoping to conjure you back awake or something if you're falling asleep by 1 a.m. But I'll tell you, I'll tell you though, Shannon. I was just at not just. I was back in October. A few of us went to Villisca, and we were in bed by like 1:30 in the morning. That was. I mean, it just. And that was just like, but in our case, we weren't really having the activity that you all were having. You were just exhausted, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. I was wiped out. I mean, traveling with Timothy and Chrissy is its own experience. So that was a lot of fun, but I was just worn out. I was absolutely worn out because we were, we also went to the Lizzie Borden house, and, we spent some time in Newport. So it was just go, 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 go. We had an adventure in Boston. So by the time the investigation came that night, I was wiped out.
Yeah.
And my body can only do so much. And when you're on the road that much, it'll take it out of you.
Yeah, it certainly will. And I don't know Timothy, but I know Christy, and actually that reminds me, David Taylor called me yesterday, and I have to give him a call back. And no better place to remind myself than live on radio, of course. But I think that it's I think honestly, I mean, it's so cool to be able to go. It's fun to go to places that no one knows about, but it's also fun to go to the places that you hear so much about and to be able to experience yourself, I think.
Right. Absolutely. You see what the hype's about. I've got a new place coming up. It is an untouched abandoned hospital. I was contacted to investigate.
Oh.
They're like, how much would you charge? I'm like, absolutely nothing. Let me get a team together. So I'm doing that. Not this weekend, but the weekend after. The weekend, the 10th.
Not part of your events, but actually just doing a straight up investigation over there.
Yes, I'm not really doing events anymore, to be honest with you. I'm really not. I got to, with my job now, it's been such a blessing and a financial blessing in my life.
Yep.
I don't want to travel all around like that anymore. I still want to travel, of course, but I'm doing more private things or just doing stuff with, small groups where y'all pitch in. I just don't foresee me doing, hosting events anymore. I just really don't.
No, I do understand that. Let's do this, Shannon. Let's take our last break. When we come back, we're going to finish our conversation with the co-host of the new podcast, The Calling, The Forgotten Files, Shannon Rogers. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Winter is here, and there's a good chance your home isn't being heated efficiently. And it's likely because of air sealing and insulation problems. Inadequate attic insulation is the leading contributor to high energy bills, cold rooms, and ice dams. Great news, the energy-efficient pros at Snap Construction can fix it all. Stop the heat from leaking out and save. Call 612-333-SNAP or visit snapconstruction.com for your free infrared energy inspection. Install with Snap Construction and qualify for over $750 in rebates and incentives. State and city programs are now offering 0% financing for qualifying insulation upgrades. So call Snap Construction for your free insulation energy consultation and start saving on your energy bills. Call 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed insulation and exterior contractor in the metro area. Visit snapconstruction.com.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with metamorphosisconnections.com. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search metamorphosisconnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on metamorphosisconnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting metamorphosisconnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
The days are growing shorter and temperatures are getting colder. You know what that means. It's time to plan your unforgettable eagle viewing trip with the National Eagle Center. Spend a Saturday afternoon with the experts viewing bald and golden eagles in the heart of Eagle territory. Travel by coach bus to multiple eagle hotspots and receive engaging informational programming along the way. Trips last 4 hours and minimal walking is required. Learn more and register online today at nationaleaglecenter.org/eagle-viewing.
Hi, everybody. This is Paul Metza, host of the Wall of Power Radio Hour, going on its 8th anniversary this year on AM 950. I want to tell you that I've got a great book out called Alphabet Jazz, Poetry, Prose, Stories, and Songs. It's writings I've done over the last 40 years. It's available on Amazon, or if you want to shop locally, go to the Electric Fetus, Crumpy's Bar Northeast, or High Fine Hair in Loring Park. I think you're going to enjoy it. Thanks so much.
And I do want to give a special thank you, as always, to Shar and Metamorphosis Connections for sponsoring us and being such good partners. I really do appreciate it. Once again, please go to metamorphosisconnections.com to see everything that they have on offer there, seeing everyone who is offering up their expertise and whatnot. It is very well worth it. Now, next week on Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, we're hoping to have on Rick Asuna to talk about his book, The Night the DeFeos Died, reinvestigating the Amityville murders. This is quite the book, and the thing is, we haven't been able to confirm our schedule with Rick yet, so we'll either get him this week or another time. If he's not there, I'm assuming we'll just have an hour of talking with Patrick about his favorite colors. Let's get to know Patrick, which I think is long overdue.
No, I don't disagree with that. I think a lot of listeners might be wondering, who is that guy who's got that annoying voice?
Not annoying. but when we call something, Patrick 950, they're going to want to know what that's about. So, he's either going to be talking about the Amityville murders or our producer Patrick, one of the two. And you're not even going to probably be here anyway. So, that's going to make it even more of a conundrum, if you will.
I think you and Adam could actually have a really good conversation in all seriousness.
Yeah, we definitely would, except he'd probably just outshine me in that. And, my ego can't handle that. So that's where we are with that. Now, for our final segment, we return to our guest today, the owner of Paranormal Explorations of America, LLC, and co-host of the new podcast, The Calling, The Forgotten Files, that can be found on Facebook and YouTube. We have on Shannon Rogers today. And, Shannon, just curious, where, it's always interesting to see where people land in different areas here. We talk about spirits, ghosts, and everything else. What are your thoughts on stuff like cryptids or UFOs? I'm just curious.
Oh, man. I'm so curious about everything. I don't count anything out because I know enough to know I don't know a dang thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah.
I'm open to everything. I'm so open to everything. I have done a CE5 session, and boy, did I look like the amateur because I was just blown away that we were all sitting in this room and there was this big rolling fog only about up to 3 foot off the ground. And I'm sitting there like, do y'all see that? And they're like, yeah, like amateur. And I'm like, it was really interesting. There was something to be said that it was so not normal. It was very interesting. And as far as cryptids go, like, Bigfoot and stuff like that, I do have a curiosity. I can't say whether I believe or not, but I have a curiosity to understand more.
Yeah. Now, what is that session that you're talking about? Explain. Would you mind telling everyone what that was that you did?
Okay, so a CE5 session, like I said, I've only done one. So I'm not the
you're
expert
an expert.
on it.
You're now an expert, so
exactly right. Well, it's where, you play these little tones and noises and stuff like that. Just it's supposed to begin interaction with extraterrestrials. And then, you kind of meditate and everything. And then you meditate on connecting with extraterrestrials. And then things are supposed to happen. Then you go outside and try to see if you can see anything. It was really interesting. I was definitely a newbie doing it, but there was a swirling fog on the ground that stopped about 3 feet up, and it was just fascinating to me. So yeah, you're just basically trying to connect to extraterrestrial spirit. You can, do a spirit box session while you're doing, or use something with a word bank while you're doing that.
Right. Now, first, a couple reactions I have to that. I think anytime someone looks at fog coming in out of nowhere, it's just, whatever, that happens. I think you've lost the thread, if you ask me, because I think it will always be amazing when stuff like that happens. But also the I do a lot of spirit box work where we try to reach out to extraterrestrials, and what comes through the box is different. I'm not saying that it's definitively communication from outside of the world, but the normal type of tones and stuff that comes through the box, and you start getting something very different. And we're actually going to try it again this coming Tuesday, and see what we come up with. But I mean, there is something. I think there's something to it.
Yeah, it definitely, there's something to it. I have a lot of curiosity. Does that mean I'm a believer? No, but I definitely have an open curiosity, and there's something to it, and I just want to explore more. But I'm fascinated by a lot of things in life. I'm connected to energy. I feel energy a little bit different than most people, and so anything that can stimulate or trigger that, I'm curious about. Now, it reminds me of the fog too. When I was at Gettysburg a couple of years back, and we were there at the battlefields at night, there was down the path, all of a sudden came this fog 3 feet off the ground, and it just kind of followed the road. So it came down a hill and it comes at us, and next thing you know, we're engulfed in fog. And that is probably one of the most interesting situations that I've ever taken part in, because it is like, what is this? And it's not, it to me, it didn't feel like a weather phenomenon. It felt more like purposeful. Well, isn't water like a conductor of energy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fog is moisture,
Yeah.
So there might be the more scientific way of looking at that. Absolutely. I believe that for sure. It might be easier for them to manifest or interact if there's fog going through. I don't know how they could start fog, but that's what I'm curious about. Like, why does this happen?
If they could fly to our planet, they could start fog. That's the way I look at it, at least. I don't know. So we have just a couple minutes left here before we're at the end. Tell us what's coming up on the Calling the Forgotten Files this Thursday.
We have psychic detective, psychic medium Melinda Williams coming on Thursday. Yeah. I'm excited to talk to her. I had a reading from her last week, and she's just a really sweet person. She's always been so kind to me. And so she reached out about being on the show, and I'm like, absolutely. You've got great energy. Come on down. Let's do it.
And so that is going to be what time again on this Thursday?
6:00 Central.
Okay. And that's going to be on Facebook, the Calling the Forgotten Files Facebook page. You can find it there. Also on YouTube, the Calling Forgotten Files, that you can also go and subscribe to their YouTube page, as well as like their Facebook page. And I don't know if your show had ever recovered popularity wise from when I was on it. I'm assuming that broke the internet and whatnot, right?
That's too funny.
That was
a great show. It was a good show.
You were sick.
I have to tell you, Greg, though, real quick, that, I know you personally. I've met you in person. I've been around you a couple times, and we've chit-chatted, and we've had phone conversations. It's the first time hearing you on the radio. You're actually pretty good at this.
Well, I've done an episode or two. So yeah, no. Are you saying the real life me is kind of a disaster? Is that kind of what you're getting at there? Because I won't disagree to start with. So
I'll I've ridden the Hot Mess Express train too. It's okay.
Well, I'm just wondering if after my episode aired, you all decide, let's get serious about the stuff we're going to have on, and we're going to really refocus everything, you know?
It's like we really need to vest our guests a little bit more, Jen.
Right, exactly. Let's actually get people of interest on here. So I'm hoping that if especially, I mean, I know every episode is a great episode, but if there is something that is really you want us to really promote, please let us know that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes we touch things, on topics that we really want to get more exposure on and people to hear about it.
Absolutely.
So absolutely.
Shannon,
and I also am just
actually, I have to cut you off, Shannon. I have to cut you off. We're out of time. But thank you so much, and we'll see you all next week.
Hello, this is Ellie Krug with Ellie 2.0 Radio.